Hey everyone, Frankie here. Before we begin today's episode, I just want to give a quick content warning that this conversation with Jake Ranney includes discussion of sexual assault, trauma, and mental health struggles. While the episode is filled with honesty, strength, and healing, some of the subject matter may be upsetting or triggering for certain listeners. Just know that if you've ever experienced trauma or are struggling with your mental health, just know that you are not alone and there is no shame in reaching out for support. Please take care of yourself, and if at any point you need to pause or step away from this episode, that's okay. Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Corcoran Entertainment Show. I'm your host, Frankie Corcoran. Happy Thursday, everybody. Hope you're all having a good summer so far. And it's going to get even better because I'm going to plug a little event that I've mentioned before on the podcast. I share it on Facebook a lot. Rock and River Festival is, this actually starts tomorrow. At the time, I'm recording this a few days before, so I'm just... trying to figure out what day am I at. So Rock and River Festival 2025, July 25th, 26th, and 27th. If you go to www.rockandriverfest.ca, I'll also post a link in the episode description. Anybody in the Miramichi and surrounding areas, definitely be sure to come on down. Presented by the Rock and Roll Festival in collaboration with Downtown Newcastle and Miramichi Kia, who are the proud main stage and presenting sponsor. It's a weekend filled with live music, downtown pub crawl, fireworks, local markets, car shows, foam fest, boat parade, foam parade. Imagine a foam parade. And just a lot of amazing things. And I'm excited to be working with them this year. And so be sure to come on out. Click the link in our episode description to check it out, see what's going on. And if you're in the area, by all means, come on down. We'd love to see you. So that's a little plug for that. So moving on with the conversation today. Very powerful discussion today. As you guys heard in the intro, that this episode contains some very sensitive subject matter, so just viewer discretion is advised. Jake Ranney. Jake, this was a tremendous conversation and was very honored to have him on here. He's a survivor, advocate, podcaster, and author of his upcoming memoir, Like Nothing Ever Happened, which chronicles his journey through sexual assault, mental health struggles, and healing. And he also has a podcast coming up called You're Never Alone, which I'm also really excited to hear about. We talk about a lot of different things. We're able to laugh. We're able to, shed some light on some serious topics. And it was, truly, a honor to have him on here today, and hope you guys enjoy the conversation. Definitely be sure to rate the episode, all that stuff. And without further ado, guys, just sit back, relax, and enjoy the podcast today. Well, hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Corcoran Entertainment Show. I am your host, Frankie Corcoran, and today I am joined by a advocate, survivor. He's also the author of the upcoming memoir, Like Nothing Happened, and he's also the host of the upcoming podcast, You're Never Alone. Very excited to check out both of those, and I'm very excited to have him on here today. Jake Ranney. Jake, how's it going, man?
It's going pretty good. How are you?
I'm doing good. Did I pronounce your name right, by the way? Ranney?
Yes, you're actually one of the only people that have ever pronounced it right. So
Hell
thank you
yeah,
for that.
that's good. What's the worst pronunciation of your name that you've gotten?
Well, honestly, I've heard Rainy, Renee. I've heard a lot of different things. I've had to one time when I was going through a graduation ceremony, my principal actually asked me to write out like the definition on how to pronounce it. And I'd been at that school for 4 years and he didn't even know that that's how you pronounced my last name. So I was like, oh, that's lovely.
You're like, did
But
you not pay attention to me at all during those
I
four
know
years?
I was like, I am a student here. So,
Exactly. Like
but
it's just kind of funny how that all works out. Like
yeah.
I've had um so take a look at my last name and tell me what you think. How do you pronounce my last name? Even though I think I just pronounced
Well,
it.
yours is actually pretty easy. I was thinking it right because here in California we have a city called Corcoran, and I was pronouncing it that way. I don't know if that was right or
That's
not.
correct because
Okay.
maybe not the same situation as you. This wasn't a graduation, but there were a few times during some assemblies it was Cochran, and they would say Cochran,
Oh,
Frankie Cochran, and I'm like, that's not at all like there's clearly an R in
yeah, they
there.
added like another C in there or something. Yeah.
Exactly. It's like they took out the first R and they put a C in there. I'm like, okay, but
Yeah.
like, it's just one of those things. I'm just like, oh geez. All right.
And then
But
you kind of get embarrassed because you're like, I can't correct you right here in front of everybody, but it's like that's not how you pronounce it.
because then you'll get pissed off at me when I do correct you. Like I'm like, you
Yeah,
can't win.
you can't win. You just have to be Cochrane, I guess, for the rest of your life.
That's my name. So welcome to the Cochrane Entertainment
Yeah.
Show, guys. Very happy to have Ranney on here today.
Yes, we're creating a spinoff here.
That's it. That's perfect. I love that. Jake, yeah, it's such a pleasure to have you on here, especially, I mean, just looking at all that you've done, all that you've been through. Before we start, I kind of wanted to just ask you, so going through all of this and going through, trauma and just it's something where I'm like, you almost kind of have to wait for the memoir to come out to really truly understand. I mean, like, the sexual assault, mental health. In wanting to write about it and in wanting to start a podcast and stuff like that, what made that the right approach to make a good use out of the journey that you've been on?
Well, to be honest with you, after this happened, I was put into different therapies. I had been going to therapy since I was 8, but when it happened, they put me into, and by they, I mean like the county told my family, oh, this is an opportunity that you should have Jake go into. But they put me into a specific trauma-based therapy. So it was basically when I went, all we talked about was what happened. And the lady who was my counselor was at the time telling me, oh, well, you should write about it. You should journal about what happened. Um, I've had a lot of other clients that do that, and it helps them navigate their own story as well as putting it behind them and coping with it. And I had always loved to write. And at the time, I was like, well, that just seems kind of silly. Like, why would I write about that? Especially if I'm coming here once a week to talk about it to you, why would I go out of my way to write about it on the daily and not? I felt like that wouldn't put it past me. I felt like that would just bring it up every 5 seconds because I would be writing about it. And then at one time, I was kind of like, well, I might as well give it a shot. I was going, as you mentioned prior, like I had a lot of mental health issues. I figured, well, I might as well give it a shot. Like, there's nothing I'll lose from it. And so I tried it. And when I kind of navigated towards it, I was like, well, this is actually starting to help me. And when I talked to some other close friends of mine, they were like, well, things like this have happened to us. And then I was like, well, what if I didn't use my writing to just help me, but instead help other people that have gone through it as well? So then that kind of changed the setting of me not writing it as a journal, but me writing it as you're not alone. Everybody goes through, well, not everybody, but a sad majority of people go through it. And instead of talking about it, they're usually shoving it deep down, as I was as well. And instead of just coming out and talking about it. And when I put that mindset into it, I was like, this book isn't just for me, it's for a lot of other people as well.
Yeah, you'll be helping out a lot of people. When you hear people, because it's almost kind of, this is something that happens when you go through this and nobody else has gone through it. You talk about it and they're almost like, well, it doesn't seem that bad. It's like, well, because you haven't gone through this. Have you ever dealt with people like that who
Yeah.
almost they don't
Oh
fully
yeah,
understand what you went through?
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And not to even give too much away about the book, but even when I had told my family, they navigated towards the approach of, okay, well, we're going to go to the police department. And when we went to the police department, not just my family, but me specifically was met with a lot of backlash and a lot of, well, why didn't you just do this? Or why didn't you take this approach? Why didn't you help yourself in that situation? Why didn't you scream? Why didn't you do that? And in my head, when it obviously it was like 4 hours after I had just gone through this traumatic event that at the time didn't realize I was gonna have my whole life shaped around that. And I'm like, what do you mean? Why didn't I scream? Like, just things like that, where it's almost like not, it's just sad how lack of knowledge people have regarding the situation, because you're in this field where you're supposed to be helping people like me that just went through something traumatic. And I'm one of the lucky ones where I didn't come away with a lot of physical bruises or threats and all of that stuff. And I have to sit here and be asked why I didn't scream and why I didn't do things like that to help shape my outcome of things. And in my head, it's just like, you, of all people, should be trained and educated. And honestly, going through that now, when I'm talking to people that have gone through it or gone through other things, and I'm just like, I feel for you even more, because why are we being treated like we're the suspect when in reality we're the survivor and or victim? And it's just like, I don't know if maybe the detective that I had just wasn't trained properly, but it's like, this is your livelihood, this is your career, you should know what you're doing.
Yeah, it's got to be frustrating, the whole, come on, how bad can it be? You're just exaggerating, because it's one thing if it's, because the problem is they're always, for some things it's, well, where's the evidence, where's the proof? It's like there's not always proof, there's not always
Oh
evidence.
yeah.
The proof is, or the evidence is, the victim telling their story, and yes, maybe there's nobody to back that up, but that's just the sad reality of it. How did you kind of cope with that, where, I mean, like, how do I prove that this happened aside from just giving people my word? How do I prove to people
Well,
that
and
this
to be
actually happened?
honest with you, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, no, it's
And
good, man.
but to be honest with you, I did bring evidence, or to what I thought was evidence. Like, um, I don't want to get too deep into it, and I don't want to change like the kind of vibe of the show, but I had evidence. I had taken a picture of the guy. I had physical evidence that I stole and brought with me. And I they just, all they did was take a picture of it and kind of pushed it to the side. And I was like, in that moment when I took the picture and when I grabbed the stuff that I actually took with me, I was afraid that I was going to be attacked even more, because I'm here taking a photo of someone that just violated me in the biggest sense of the word. And I don't know how he's going to react to that. And come to find out that he knew that I had taken the photo, and the police knew that I had taken the towels, but they got mixed up in an evidence error, which I talk about in the book. And it's just like, so I went through even more of that to have it met with nothing. And a lot of victims and or survivors, um, when they go to report things like this, they are met with backlash, because like you said, it is taken word versus word. But when people jump through all the hurdles to prove to you this is what happened to me, they should be met with a little bit more of like sorrow and I'm sorry this happened to you. And I actually went through a SART exam, and I'm not sure if you're familiar with what those are, but I subjected myself to a 3 hour long body exam where this random stranger was getting all up in my Kool-Aid and trying to get proof and all of that. And even that was met with an evidence error. And I'm just like, I subjected myself to a 3 hour body exam, um, where I was met with obviously the lady doing it was respectful and very kind and all of that, but in my head I'm like, that just brings up more scars and more errors. And so it's just kind of like you never know going into things what you're gonna be met with. And I'm sure there's been people in that have gone to the police and or other advocates and reported to them and they were met with a lot better respect. But it's just kind of sad to see that that's how these professionals are gonna go about doing their job.
That's the sad reality of it. Like it's you almost you want people, you hope people are going to be better than you think they're going to be. Like you want
Yeah,
something like this happens, you want and hope that okay, they're going to do their job and they're going to, justice will be served. But then it's not served, and
yeah,
those same people are out there hurting, doing to other people what they did to you. And it's like, how is this a thing, you
yeah.
know? How do you kind of,
And honestly, that
yeah.
hurts me. That almost hurts me even worse because I have to live with the fact that since there was no justice, I don't know how many people he's hurt since me. I don't know how many people he hurt before me. So it's just kind of like, well, I have to live with that knowledge of the fact that regardless of how much I try, this person is still out there and he can still hurt as many people as he wants because nobody's making him suffer the consequences.
That's the worst part about it. And then you having to sit there and go like, well, what can I do to at least?
Yeah,
I mean, like I know this is happening, but how? Like, what am I supposed to do? Like, you almost feel kind of powerless
yeah.
in a way, which is the worst part about it. If you have you ever had experiences where you talk to people who maybe they have gone through it or they are going through with it, and how do you kind of coach them through that?
Well, I've actually had some close friends of mine that have gone through it, and in a way, they almost kind of helped me through things too, because we need to realize that as a society, we need to lean on to each other a lot more than what we are doing. And I know it's like taboo to go out and be like, lead with kindness, like you don't know what people are going through. Because I myself, like, I can be driving on the freeway and people are going to piss me off, but I don't know what they're going through. And it's just kind of things where it's like on the other day, I was on another interview and I was talking to someone else, and privately they shared with me, I have gone through something like this, and your story meant a lot to me because I don't think I would ever have the strength to sh- share with people that something like that happened to me. And in that moment, to be honest with you, I almost was trying to hold back tears because I just felt honored that someone felt close enough or like safe enough to come to me and tell me their story. And I just feel that I navigate things as an approach of feeling honored that someone felt safe enough to tell me that kind of stuff. And there's been people that have come to me and told me this happened to me, but I don't feel safe enough to report it. And I just have to lead with caution because I can't force someone to do something. And at the same time, it's almost like, why should this person go through the big thing to approach the police department and all of that stuff to report it if we don't know what's going to end up happening and it's just going to subject them to even harder hardships. And it's just kind of to the point where I'm not trying to force people to do anything that they're not uncomfortable with. And I just want people to realize that they can come and talk to me. I am an open book. They can come talk to me 24/7, regardless of if it's reaching out to me on Instagram, reaching out to me through email, any of that stuff. And that's one of the reasons why I wanted to start the podcast, because I felt like we need to have safer environments for people um, to go to, and not even to just vent or grief about what they went through, but to get support from other people that have gone through similar situations. And I, long story short, I feel honored when people come up to me and talk to me about things that have happened to them. And it's it's like you learn a lot from people, and they can learn stuff from you, and you can take away what they use to cope, and they can take away what I use to cope. And it's just it's helpful to me, and I hope it's helpful to the other people as well. Um and I hope that even answers your question in the slightest. I'm sorry if I'm going on rants. Um but yeah, that's just how I kind of approach it. I want to try to keep an open mind about everything, and just know that they can lean to me, and I want to make more people realize that there are people out there that care, and that they can lean on as well.
Yeah, man, like that's a wonderful way to put it. And like it's not um it's there's nothing wrong with talking about that stuff. Like there's nothing wrong with it's one thing for people to say like I'm here to talk, but I don't really know what to say. It's hard like if someone came to me with that, for me it's I haven't been through it. I don't really know. I might not be the right person to ask for like advice in terms of like how did you get through it. It's like, well, I got through because I didn't go through it, so it's
Yeah.
in that way it gets kind of difficult. But the fact that you've gone through it and you're able to help people through your experiences. What was the earliest experience that you can recall that you went through that kind of assault?
Well, honestly, so I've had experiences that weren't as severe as this one in particular, before this incident, and I kind of just brushed it off because I was like, well, that wasn't that bad, like people may have like brushed up against me or grabbed me or stuff like that, and to me I was like, well, maybe they were just trying to get my attention about something. And then when this happened, I was like, whoa, like it put all those other experiences in perspective. And like, as far as experience, this was the incident that kind of projected all of these emotions and all of these things, regarding what had happened to me before that. And when I say what happened to me, I mean, like I had stated, like brushed up, nothing as severe or related to what happened. Um, but it's just kind of interesting to see that different people can lead through these differently. And my experience with this in particular, um, it honestly happened in that moment where it was just like, oh, well, this is happening to me. And in that moment, I can hear those gears running in my head about all the things that have happened or people have said to me in the past, and realizing that those aren't okay, and those little behaviors could have led to something like that.
This episode of the Corkin Entertainment Show is brought to you by Black Box Prompter. Are you a musician tired of being tethered to your tablet or music stand? Do you long to connect with your audience on a deeper level, but find yourself constantly glancing down at your lyrics and chords? Then I highly recommend Black Box Prompter, the smart and stealthy lyrics and chords teleprompter designed to liberate musicians from the stage clutter. This innovative device is perfect for bands, hobbyists jamming out in the garage, touring pros rocking arenas, and even houses of worship looking to elevate their services. It discreetly displays your lyrics and chords, allowing you to maintain eye contact with your audience, adding an extra layer of authenticity and connection to your performance. Don't let distractions hold you back. Unleash your full potential and create a more powerful connection with your audience with Black Box Prompter. Click the link in our episode description and use the promo code Corcoran at checkout for 10% off your purchase. Black Box Prompter, the smart teleprompter built for musicians by musicians. The Corcoran Entertainment Show is brought to you by Podmatch, the ultimate platform designed to connect podcast hosts with prospective guests effortlessly. Are you a podcaster looking to elevate your show to new heights? Or perhaps you're a guest hoping to share your story with a broader audience. Whatever your podcasting goals are, we have the perfect solution for you. Podmatch simplifies the entire process of discovering guests for your show or finding podcasts to feature your expertise. Now imagine a platform where you can easily match with like-minded creators tailored specifically to your niche. With Podmatch, you can effortlessly network with influencers and thought leaders, all while staying true to your podcast vision. There are a multitude of ways that Podmatch can help you grow your brand. You can be part of a thriving community of podcasters and potential guests. Engage, collaborate, and grow together. If you're ready to experience these fantastic benefits for yourself, we invite you to join Podmatch today. Head over to www.joinpodmatch.com/Corcoran Entertainment and sign up right now for only $6 a month. That's right, you heard me right, $6 a month. Join the Podmatch family today and watch your podcast soar to new altitudes. Thank you for tuning into the Corcoran Entertainment Show, and happy podcasting. Yeah, exactly. And you went through therapy, of course, too. Like and you're still going to therapy as well, too. Like that's something that hasn't
Yeah,
really stopped.
so I've been going to therapy since I was 8 with a private counselor, and then when this happened, I had been put into like a county-led therapy counselor. Um, so it was considered a crisis counselor, and she would talk to me just specifically on how to cope with the situation that happened and how to not let it control as much of my life, which is a lot easier said than done. And then later on, because this happened to me 2 years ago, I was 16, I'm 18 now. I started adult therapy the week I turned 18 because mentally I just was not letting, I was letting it control a lot of my life mentally, and that was not okay or healthy for me. And so I entered a group therapy setting, and to kind of backtrack onto what we had said prior, like hearing all those people's stories put my story into perspective, and I took a lot away from what those people had to say. And I would go 4 days a week, 9 to noon every single day for 4 days a week. And we would do different activities. We would do different groups, shares. We would have to fill out these forms every week to see if we were kind of feeling better about everything that had happened to us. And honestly, going into that, I was like, I don't want to do that. Like, that was kind of like I've been through therapy in the past, like, and I'm still going to therapy. I just don't see how this is even going to help. And when I entered that group setting, it just all those thoughts went out the window. I had thought about it so much more in a different perspective. And even with my counselor that I've been with since I was 8 years old, that helped lead our conversations because I would go Monday through Thursday and then see her on Saturday. And she would be like, "Oh, like, how did this help with the rest of your week?" So it was a blessing.
And we always talk, to go through this stuff, having great support systems too. Like your therapist is one. Have you had any other people in your life that really acted as that? I don't know if I would have made it through this if it weren't for them.
Oh, yeah, of course. I've had um multiple friends, and like I had stated, some of which had gone through some of these scenarios, and there had been times where I didn't feel mentally okay, and I would have to call them and vent to them. And there's been times where they've had to drive me to the hospital because I just wasn't doing well. And those people will forever hold a special place in my heart. And I hope that every single person in the world has at least one person like that, to where they know that they can count on them, they can call them 24/7, um, and just kind of learn from them, but also be able to break down in front of them if they have to.
Yeah, exactly. You need that. You really do need that. Um, and it's a lot. I even noticed this with like it even kind of falls in the same category as grief, where grief is a lot depending, especially depending on how close a person who passed away was to you. Um, but it when it sneaks up on you in so many different ways, I mean, you can be completely fine, and then after the funeral, after the memorial service, and after all that stuff, you see a picture or you see something that reminds you of them, and then that's when the grief and the sadness hits you and you start crying. Did you have moments like
Yeah.
that where I'm fine, things are going good, still going to see therapy, and then the one little thing could set you off? Like, did you almost feel
Oh,
scared to trust the happiness at all?
of course. And to this day, I still have certain things that will trigger me. And I feel like that's something that I can touch in therapy and talk about, but it's also something that I'm going to have to carry around with me for the rest of my life. Like, that's not something that I can just set aside and be like, oh, this trigger, like, happened. Oh, well. And right after this happened, because this happened in December to me, and of course we have the holidays coming on and all of that stuff. I couldn't even go to family functions for a while. I couldn't. My mom tried to hug me one time about a month after, and I completely lost it. Like, I just broke down crying. I was like, I can't, you can't touch me. Like, I'm sorry. Like, I can't have people touch me. If certain people talk to me a certain way, I I just break down. I'm just like, I can't deal with you right now. And certain TV shows, like certain scenes will come on different movies, and obviously someone from Universal Studios is not thinking about things like that. And I'll just be watching a movie and I'll be like, I need to excuse myself. Like, I can't deal with this right now. And it's honestly knowing that, and this is actually something I learned from therapy. It's knowing how to handle those triggers and how to excuse yourself from those situations that show growth and can help you mentally realize that you are growing from the situation.
Because even though it might not seem like much, it's like, okay, today was the first day that I didn't have an anxiety attack, or today is the first day that I didn't think about this, or so you kind of get those
Yeah.
big milestone moments where this is like it's not to say that you're healed, you're cured, but the fact that you're taking those steps, working hard towards them, and then you realize like I'm actually making some progress here. The whole thing with I mentioned with grief, some people struggle to move past it sometimes. All these little tiny triggers, they could just be talking about that person and then they start crying. If you can get to the point where you
Yeah.
could talk about that person without breaking down into tears, that's when you know that I'm not cured. This isn't going away, but I've made tremendous progress here, and that's something that you really got to stop and think about too.
Yeah.
But kind of you were saying about how certain scenes in movies, or there might be something that pops up in a movie or something that triggers you almost. How do you kind of deal, like, do you go to the movie theaters at all much? Do you watch much TV shows? And if
Um,
so, how do you kind of
yeah.
handle those now, like those certain topics that get touched on?
Well, even with it being about 2 years now that this has happened, almost three, I still to this day, if someone is being talked to harshly, or like if it's a very important movie that touches on things like that, I still do get kind of um anxious, because it's almost to the point where it's like someone's going through that and I know what they're going through. And in a way, I'm like, how can I help them? But then in my head, I have to realize, oh my gosh, it's a fake movie. And you're over here thinking, like, oh my gosh, someone's going through that. But also, to touch on the movie theater, I go to certain stuff every once in a while, but that has taken a lot of work for me to be able to even do things like that. To even go to a family function took a lot of work for me to do, and to this day, like even when I'm on the freeway or when I'm driving and I, I get paranoid. I feel like people follow me. I feel like people are like cutting me off, and my friends would be like, "Why are you changing lanes 5 times?" And I'm like, "You don't see the car behind us?" Like what if it just honestly it changes your complete mindset. And um that's something that I have gotten better with lately, but it and I can watch movies, I can watch certain stuff and not have as bad of a panic attack, but in the moment right after that happened, it was so raw that it just was a no-go. Like I could definitely not do things like that.
And you have people who understand that. Like you have friends who go, "No, I get it."
Oh
Like
yeah.
just yeah,
Yeah.
that's completely because um I've been in certain situations where friends will you say I can't do it mentally or maybe physically I can't do it, and then they almost kind of tear a strip off you and like, "Oh, come on," blah blah blah.
Yeah.
But it's the same deal with like alcohol, someone who's sober, you offer them a drink and they say no and they almost like pressure them, "Come on." The right thing to do is to just, okay, can I get you a water? Can I get you a pop, a juice, anything
Yeah.
non-alcoholic? That's the right way to approach it. Instead of you're like, I can't go to this movie just because of, the subject matter. Oh, come on, it's not that bad. Like that's
Yeah.
very insensitive, really. It's really insensitive to
And
for
I
someone to do
and
that.
I'm very lucky to have people in my life that aren't really like that. Um, and of course, when things happen to people that you're close to, obviously it sets you back a little bit. As far as like my family, when this happened to me, they were very set back, and of course, they had to navigate life a different way and learn different ways to help me cope. And as far as friends, like I've been very lucky to be able to say, I need a moment, and they'll be like, okay, like just let me know if you need anything, or I'll be right here. And like my boyfriend, like he he's not very public anyways. Like he likes to, if I could turn on a movie and he just stay at home for a long time, he would be happy. So it's very helpful because it's like I can pick and choose what I want to do and what I don't want to do versus being stuck in a friend group where they're like, we're going to go party at so and so's house and you're coming with us. And I'm like, you would be like, whoa, like, what now? Um, or the alcohol thing, like where you were like, people navigate certain situations differently. And I don't know if that's because um, I'm lucky enough to have friends that understand what I'm going through, or they learn to understand what I'm going through. And they have been very flexible with me and very um, easygoing. And that honestly is just what needed to happen. And I'm can never be thankful enough.
That's good, man. That's really good. Just to hear not just how you've navigated, but also the support system. And you have people who understand you and are willing to accommodate you. That's that's truly fantastic. And of course, you also have a podcast that you're looking to start called "You're Never Alone." It's not out yet, but even just that title, it fits so well. Even just what I've heard today. What can you tell me about the podcast and what inspired you to start it?
Well, I honestly was kind of inspired by the fact of the transition of the book. And when I was writing the book, I was thinking, yeah, of course that helps get my story out, but um, that doesn't help me hear other people's story, and that doesn't help other people's story get told. And of course, with them being comfortable that their story is being told, because that's the most important thing. But in my head, I was like, well, how can I, one, let people know they're not alone, two, give people an outlet to help kind of share their stories, and three, um, help guide them towards certain things that can help them because everybody's different and everybody copes differently, goes through therapy differently. And that's one of my goals with this podcast is to even get like medical professionals or professionals that are in this kind of field to come on and share what they've noticed that help people, what they would recommend, what they usually do. And then, of course, the utmost important piece of the podcast is other victims and or survivors that are comfortable with sharing their story. And even if they want to come on the podcast and be like, this is what happened to me, um, how would you recommend doing it? Or I just need to vent about what happened to me. I just want to be that space for people to be able to come to me and help. And even even if say they like, oh, I want to come on the podcast and then they end up not being comfortable, at least in that moment their conversation was met with someone that was willing to listen, open to hearing what they have to say, willing to give them opportunities to vent or guide them through things if they're willing to want to hear that. And I just want to be that person that is that outlet for those people. And I felt like that one-on-one conversation via a podcast resource is the route that I could take. And I listen to a lot of podcasts, whether they be comedian podcasts, crime true podcasts, like true crime podcasts, and all that stuff. And I'm like, oh, well, maybe this kind of this kind of media outlet is how we can get the word across.
And podcasts are blowing up too. Like it's all like it's
Yeah.
everyone it's good for everyone to have a podcast. Honest to God, I really think it is. Just because you meet lots of great people, you can openly talk about this stuff. Like maybe you don't have people in
Oh
your
yeah.
life personally that you can talk to about certain things, but you can connect. And even with how we've reached out, or like we're able to be connected, it's good that it filters all those different people. Like, okay, this is what I want in guests. Like it really, really,
Yeah.
it's truly become an amazing thing, and you really never know who you'll come across during this. What's probably the one that really stands out to you in terms of now that you're getting your podcast started? It's not going yet, but once it does, and then your memoir, what would you probably say is the best thing that's come out of those two things?
Well, honestly, a lot of like what we've been talking about is um one, it's helped me cope. It's hard to pick just the best thing, you know? And I have met more people that have gone through things. And my whole goal for all of this is as long as people know that they aren't alone, and even if I only touch one person's life and help one person, then this is all worth it to me.
All it takes is one person. That's really all it
Yeah.
is. Because if
And I
that
honestly,
one person passes that on to everybody else.
yeah, it's like the triple effect. Like you touch one person, they might touch two people's life. And
Yep.
then you touch three people's life via that one person. And back to kind of what you were saying earlier, it's like I'm in that mindset, sorry, I'm in that mindset where it's kind of like everybody has a story to tell. Everybody could write a book. Everybody could do a podcast. And everybody's stories matter. And that could help so many people just by one person's story. And I just feel like, honestly, if everybody did have a podcast and everybody had a book and they shared their stories willingly, then world would be a much peacefuler place.
This episode of the Corcoran Entertainment Show is brought to you by Holy Hydrogen. Okay, guys, let's be real. We all try our best to stay hydrated, right? But not all water is created equal. That's where Holy Hydrogen comes in. They've got this awesome device called the Lourdes Hydrofix Premium Edition, and it takes clean water to the next level by infusing it with molecular energy. That means you're not just drinking water, you're giving your body extra support with every sip. Better energy, less inflammation, and a real boost to your immune system. So try the Lourdes Hydrofix Premium Edition today by going to shop.holyhydrogen.com/Corcoran and use the promo code Corcoran for $100 off your purchase. Again, that's shop.holyhydrogen.com/Corcoran and use the promo code Corcoran at checkout. Stay hydrated and stay healthy. Yep, it really would, and it's really taken over, and it's allowed free speech. You know, like we're not under television where we have to be careful about saying certain things. Podcasting has allowed it to.
Yeah,
You can talk about anything you want, and that's what I've truly loved about doing it. Is it's become a good coping mechanism for me too. Even like starting it
yeah,
during the pandemic when we can't see anybody and I can't do theater, which I love to do, and or see people in general and socialize. This was probably the best way to socialize. And even though we're not locked up anymore, we're allowed to live our lives now. I still love doing it because of the amazing things. It's connecting me with people like you. It's connecting me with all other amazing people who I've collaborated with in these last 3 years of doing this podcast, and it's truly remarkable. And you'll get there too, like you will get there
yeah,
when You're Never Alone eventually launches, which I believe you say you're actually doing a little bit of that today of recording.
yeah. So I'm actually trying to. I have two people scheduled, and we're gonna talk about their. I have the two people each have different like individual stories or even routes that they want to take on the podcast. And so it's just kind of meeting that. Um, and I'm trying to reach out to some like I had mentioned before, like professionals, whether that be healthcare professionals, mental health professionals, just to see if they would want to come and talk. And um, I'm about to film like the introductionary video to kind of share with other listeners about what the podcast is going to be about and our goals.
Wonderful. Well, just know, I mean, my whole life pretty well, which I didn't really admit it until later on, which was unfortunate. Anxiety still is a big thing for me. And so if you're ever looking for somebody, I'll say this on air, if you're ever looking for somebody to,
Yeah.
talk about mental health, be an advocate, just say the word, man.
Yeah, thank you. And that means a lot. And like I said, even for you to be willing to tell me that means a lot.
Yeah, because it just takes one person because then someone will hear this and go, I feel more comfortable
Yeah.
talking about it now to people because I know that this person goes through it, and it's all a cycle. It's all a cycle, man.
Well, and honestly, it's just like that's the only way we're going to change the stigmatism behind, oh, well, we all battle these things in private and nobody ever talks about them. If one person speaks up, then like you said, it ripples to all these other people.
Exactly. Exactly. It's fantastic, man. And I'm real happy to hear how it's you've turned a terrible situation into something, I mean, obviously the wounds are still there, but you've come out on top is what I'd say. You really have come out on top, and
Yeah.
I applaud you for it. And your memoir too. What can you tell us about your memoir?
So the memoir, like I had mentioned, was kind of an outlet to just kind of help me cope, but the outlet just kind of launched off, because the second I started talking about one thing, I was like, well, this person is important to this topic, or this aspect is important. And throughout the journey of the book, it kind of just navigates through opening up about, oh, this actually happened to me. This is how I told my family. Um, this is how something happened, and I reported it. The reporting process, how I was met by the professionals, or lack of better words, unprofessionals, because they weren't very professional about their job. And there's like quotes from my family members about how they were taken by this situation, what I intend to take out of this situation regarding me, and how I hope to kind of use this as a tool to navigate my life instead of letting it hinder my life. Um, and it's just it all started as just an outlet for me to kind of cope, and now it's become a whole trajectory.
Wonderful, like it, fantastic, man. Like I was kind of just frozen for a second because I was kind of trying to like take it all in. Kudos to you,
Yeah.
man. I'm really happy to hear that for you, and that you're, things have looked up. And as I said, everybody should start a podcast. Everybody should write a book, or
Yeah.
play, or yeah, even uh doing it through plays or something like that is a great thing.
Yeah. Any way
Storytelling.
to express yourself.
Exactly. And I'm happy to hear that, man. So happy. And congratulations. Jake, where could people find you on social media and all that stuff?
So on Instagram is my main outlet. I'm Jake Ranney _official. And there I provide like links to my websites and all of that stuff. So that's kind of the easiest way to find all of my projects and to get a hold of me or to kind of discuss other stuff. But it's Jake Ranney, all lowercase _official.
Wonderful. So, guys, be sure to check all that stuff out and stay tuned for Jake's memoir, which is titled, I almost said, You're Never Alone. Like Nothing Happened. Be sure to stay tuned for that, and his podcast, You're Never Alone. Jake, thank you so much, man, for coming on the show today.
Thank
Congratulations
you.
on, being brave enough to tell your story and everything. And very happy to hear that you're improving, and it can only go up from here, man. So thank you for coming on.
Yes. Thank you for allowing me to be on your podcast and to share my story. It means a lot.
My pleasure, and we'll be in touch. I'd love to be on yours. I'd love to have you back on. We can,
Yes,
see
of course.
see how things go. Guys, thank you all so much for listening to the show today on a Thursday. We will see you guys in the next episode. But until then, this is Frankie and Jake signing off. Cheers, man.
Bye.